When I wake up in the morning, and the sunlight hurts my eyes, and something without wanting love bears heavy on my mind. Then I look at you, and the world's alright with me. Oh, I just wanna look at you, and I know it's gonna be to face, but someone else instead of me always seems to know the way. Then I look at you, and the world's alright with me. Oh, I just wanna look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day. To face, and when someone else instead of me always seems to know the way. Then I look at you, and the world's alright with me. Oh, I just wanna look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day.
Take all the drugs you got. Drugs you got.
in your eyes, and we ain't even done yet. Don't wanna go home yet. I spent the whole day with you, and we ain't even done yet. Don't you hate goodbyes? Rather say good morning than good night. No, I can't even pretend. No matter how I try, my body wants to know we cannot hide. I don't want this night to end. If only I could stop the sunrise, we could lay here all night. If only I could learn to freeze time and hold you forever. If only I had one more day, I love you 25 years. If only I could stop the sunrise, we could lay here all night. If only I could learn to freeze time and hold you forever. If only I had one more day, I love you 25 years. Show me good love in a real time. I'll show you what a real lover feel like. We could turn a second to a lifetime. Slow it down and make a moment. And baby, yeah, you know you're the one. Cause I could fall in love with you twice. I'll ride our highs and the lows, follow wherever you go. Don't you hate goodbyes? Rather say good morning than good night. No, I can't even pretend. No matter how I try, my body wants to know we cannot hide. I don't want this night to end. If only I could stop the sunrise, we could lay here all night. If only I could learn to freeze time and hold you forever. If only I had one more day, I love you 25 years. If only I could stop the sunrise, we could lay here all night. If only I could learn to freeze time and hold you forever. If only I had one more day, I love you 25 years. If only I
something that startled my eyes. It caught something up in the clouds, came to life like a ghost, and the fading light as I looked to the sky. In the moment, I think I saw an omen, an omen, an omen. I think I saw an omen, an omen, an omen. I think I saw an omen, an omen, an omen. I think I saw an omen, an omen.
I can't help but dancing all night. The beat has got me losing my mind. All night, the beat has got me losing my mind. Take me somewhere.
cold and the music's hot. Doesn't matter where we go. Take me somewhere.
I can't help but dancing all night. The beat has got me losing my mind. I can't help but dancing all night. The beat has got me losing my mind.
When I wake up in the morning, love, and the sunlight hurts my eyes, and something without wanting, love, bears heavy on my mind. Then I look at you, and the world's alright with me. Oh, I just wanna look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day. When the day that lies ahead of me seems impossible to face, with someone else instead of me always seems to know the way. Then I look at you, and the world's alright with me. Oh, I just wanna look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day. When the day that lies ahead of me seems impossible to face, and when someone else instead of me always seems to know the way. Then I look at you, and the world's alright with me. Oh, I just wanna look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day.
Take all the drugs you got. I'll take all the drugs you got. drugs you got.
Hello and welcome to Helix Records New Music Friday. I am Ben Sorab. I'll be your host today, and we are joined by none other than All Kane, who will be chatting with us about his release Wannabe that came out today on Helix Records. We also have a couple of other really exciting releases to chat to you about today. We have a track from Sincole called Lovely Day that we'll be playing and chatting about. And also our very first release from Masick with his track Digital Delirium, which came out today. And I'll also really briefly go through some news and other stuff that's been going on in the back of the label. But first things first, Niall, how's it going, mate? Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, it's not going too bad now. Release day, it's always a bit hectic. I was telling you beforehand that I'm also moving house as well, and today's my last day, so it's all systems go at the moment. But yeah, not too bad.
So you're sitting on a cardboard box in an empty room, basically.
I'm actually my housemate works from home, so I'm actually in his downstairs office at the moment. So just making do.
Nice. And whereabouts are you based? Are you in Ireland at the moment, or?
Yeah, I'm in the south of Ireland. I'm based in a city called Limerick, but I'm moving down to a city called Cork, which is a bit bigger, a good bit more going on, a lot more clubs and pubs and the usual, the usual fun stuff. So a bit more opportunity down there, and yeah, I'm excited about the move, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, like exactly like what you were saying before, like organizing like a release and moving on the same day is that's a lot to put on your plate in 24 hours.
Yeah, you don't even like the two things in my head never clicked at all is that they're on the same day, and of course then it comes down to it, and then you're trying to handle like getting promotion up, and also like clean out your sock drawer, like so it's it's definitely yeah, it's a multitask day for sure.
So tell me, like how did you kind of what age did you kind of start getting into music, and what's your kind of story in music?
Yeah, so I suppose I really got into it, like I had like a little MP3 player that my parents bought for me for one Christmas, and I remember just among the songs, like standout artists that I can remember was like Dead Mouse and like Tiesto, especially Adagio for Strings and songs like that. Strobe by Tiesto or by Dead Mouse. Like those are fairly iconic tracks for me growing up. Then when in around like the Avicii era, I think everybody was getting into Avicii at that stage, but like me and my brother really loved the music. And my brother got virtual DJ on this old laptop, and we were there in the kitchen like with the mouse just making these little mixes and just being like, this is so cool, like we're unreal, we're the best DJs that ever existed. So I remember talking to my mother at that time, and I said to her, I think that if I got like the tools that I needed, that I'd be able to come up with like good electronic music, because I was big into like beatboxing and all that kind of stuff at the time, and I thought that I was able to just like come up with these sick beats the whole time. And after that, yeah, it was like a kind of a normal progression. It went a little bit heavier then when it was like EDM era. It was like Mike, Dimitri Vegas, and it went to like a bit more like blaster jacks then, and like New World Sound and stuff, as that stuff kind of developed, and it was just getting progressively a little bit heavier. By the time then I was in like my last year of secondary school, I ended up getting like a cracked version on my mother's old laptop. I got a cracked version of FL Studio 12. I have a legitimate version now, so don't worry. But when I was a young guy and I had absolutely no money to my name, I had to make do. So and I think like even at that point, FL Studio like 20 or something was even out at that point. I can't remember, but like I was just working away on like FL Studio 12, and it was for ages I didn't have it was actually just a demo version, so I couldn't even save any project file. So I just have to all in one go make this whole track. And I'd sit there for like 6 or 7 hours and just come up with the worst tune ever and just be like, this is the best thing ever. and then like just trying to like record it or export it in any way I could. Eventually, I got a key for it, and I just used FL Studio 12 for ages, and really just started like Deep House started coming in at that point, and then that slowly progressed into like Future House, which was like into like Shammy and Kirby and all of them. And I kind of just was like really learning the ropes as I got into university. So that was like 2015, 2016. Didn't really have a clue what I was doing. Just looked up a load of YouTube tutorials and started making a load of Deep House and just releasing it on SoundCloud. SoundCloud was kind of the place that we used to always go to just get these underground kind of tracks. And I don't know, I didn't even have a Spotify account at that point because you actually had to pay for that. So it was just, it was a no-go. I'm sure like every other college student, like you got to really like prioritize food and going out to the pub over like paying for premium services. So I was on SoundCloud and started releasing just these random Deep House tracks that I was making, and one or two of them did fairly well. Like got a couple of 100,000 streams, and I was just like, this is mad. In about third year of college, I moved into a new house with a few new people, and they were big into techno and tech house, and they kind of showed me, what was up, and I really got into like Melody. I think Techno Disco Tool was like a massive changing point for me. I just absolutely fell in love with that track. I just played it non-stop the whole time, and then I basically just made a new alias then, which was All Kane, and started making tracks that were like more tech housey, and then progressed into like heavier kind of stuff. All the way up to the end of college, and then we hit into COVID, and I kind of thought that my time might have it like the time that where I could have started getting gigs and stuff just came at the worst time ever, and any gigs I had got cancelled, and I just thought that I'm after missing my opportunity or whatever, and but I just kept making different tracks all through COVID. Actually went with a bit like genre exploring, kind of just making a load of different kind of stuff. And then outside just after the back of COVID, then when started last year, then I ended up getting into contact with yourselves and got my first release with that was Odyssey, which was an older track that I had made back when I was in college. And just things really just took off from there. And up until like November last year, I was still working kind of full time in a finance place, and I just basically was like, you know what, I'm just going to give this a full whack, and just left the finance place. I didn't like working there, to be fair, so I was probably going to leave there anyway. But I was like, Joel, I'll see if I could just give full time music a go for the time being and see how it goes on. And here we are now in July, and it's just gone way better than I ever could have imagined it. Like, so I'm still doing it and still able to afford food every night and
and beers as well. Beers on the pub.
That's
so Odyssey was like the first official All Kane release. Is that correct?
Yeah, I had like SoundCloud really like stepped up their game with like they had like repost by SoundCloud, which is you were able to like get your songs onto different streaming services. So for ages, I just didn't mess around with Spotify at all. Like I was just like, all my tracks were going on SoundCloud, and then I'd make videos and upload them to YouTube. I didn't want to do like DistroKid or any of them. I just didn't look into it that much. And then I saw that SoundCloud had bought a repost by SoundCloud. And it was like, if you were over a certain amount of like listenership, you kind of just qualified for it. I can't remember exactly how it worked. Maybe you don't, maybe you do have to pay for it. I don't know. But anyway, I got on the wagon with reposts and started getting tracks onto Spotify, but they were like, I don't know, I felt after a while that they probably weren't at the level where you want your tracks to be that are on Spotify. And when I had Odyssey and it was ready to go, and I listened to like the master of it and stuff, I was like, no, this is a sound that I'd actually be proud to have on my Spotify. So I got rid of all the older stuff, I think that I might have left like one song under that I had done before that I liked, but yeah. And then Odyssey was like my first official release with a label, and it just went really well. I was delighted with it.
I think it's really interesting, actually, that kind of difference right now. I'm noticing myself between if I kind of go onto SoundCloud and you look at the top 50 dance charts on SoundCloud, it's basically all like minimum 140, like all the way up, and it's all 4/4, and it's like super heavy. It's got this like massive like early 90s influence, you know, bit of a donk element in there. And then you compare that to Spotify, and it's actually quite different. There is that, you know, you get the tunes like the last Calvin Harris tune. It's kind of sort of like playing off of that idea, but it's still just not hitting the same, you know, kind of numbers and things. And I think you sort of touched on it a little bit earlier when you were saying how at university, you know, you didn't want to pay for Spotify because, you know, you've got to prioritize your things, and SoundCloud is free. And I think a lot of young people drive it. I mean, what's your sort of view on the kind of the difference?
I have I have so much love for SoundCloud. Like, to me, they've always just been like kind of supporting underground artists, or giving like underground artists a place to really like flourish. And not just in house and electronic music. Like, obviously you had all of the SoundCloud rappers that, you know, some of them got absolutely massive off just SoundCloud release. I think Lil Nas X, even, I think he was he had his tracks on SoundCloud, and he's one of the biggest stars in the world now at the moment. So I think SoundCloud can be a little bit lawless as well. Like, you know, there's questions about copyright that, you know,
Definitely.
Yeah, like you can upload a remix or a bootleg, and 9 times out of 10 on SoundCloud, you know, there won't be anything said about it. It'll just stay up. Spotify is a bit different. You always see comments, people like, some guy will upload a mix he's done on TikTok, or like a new track he's made, and it's a remix, and everyone's saying, get this on Spotify, get this on Spotify. They don't realize like how much behind the scenes works that actually has to go into getting like clearance for samples and the like of that. Whereas this song could like live and have a whole life on SoundCloud and gain, you know, hundreds of thousands or millions of streams there. And I think that's one thing. You kind of get away with a little bit more on SoundCloud, which I think is good. Like, I know it's a double-edged sword. You know, if somebody, I've had in many occasions, like, people just take your track and just re-upload it on their own page, you know, and you can't really do anything about it. Sometimes you can get it taken down, sometimes you can't. And like, I'd say for, you know, superstar famous people, if all of their songs are just getting re-uploaded the whole time, you know, that must be annoying. But from a bit more of an underground standpoint, it's definitely a lot more liberating to be able to kind of just upload and when you want and what you want, and there's a lot more creativity expressed that way. Another side of it then, when you were talking about the difference between Spotify and SoundCloud, I think that Spotify is a bit more, I'm not going to say like elite, because it's not an elitist place, like anybody can upload, but I mean, it's a bit more of a premium kind of a place. Like, you get like the quality is generally higher. I think it has a little bit of an atmosphere around it that's people like, you don't just get like donk bootlegs going up on Spotify. Like, it needs to be proper releases, you know, there's a lot of planning that goes into it. And it takes time to get those songs up there. So I think that people see kind of Spotify and the likes of Apple Music and iTunes and those places that that's like the best of the best kind of stuff, whereas SoundCloud is a little bit more of a breeding ground for all types of music.
Totally. I also think, you know, Spotify, it's so dependent on the playlisting, the getting in the playlist and stuff, and a lot of that is dependent on essentially like the label's relationship with people at Spotify and that sort of thing, and, you know, the kind of artist trajectory and all that sort of stuff. So I totally hear what you're saying. So let's chat about Wannabe, which came out today. It's your third release on Helix, is that correct?
Yeah, my third release now. Yeah. In terms of I was finding it funny, like, I tried to pinpoint like genres and stuff, but I've always tried to just make whatever I want to make and try and get it out there. So I think Odyssey was like a dark tech house one. I told you Once Then was really light, like groovy, like almost like groovy house with rave, kind of 90s rave elements or synth sounds in it. And then, you know, Wannabe is just like heavier, fast and heavy, like rave slash techno kind of tune. So I suppose if you're looking for consistency on the All K page, you're really not going to find it. But yeah, I'm really happy with the song. Especially the masters when they came back, I was just like, I was just belting it out up in my room and just couldn't stop listening to it. So yeah, I'm delighted.
Yeah, that's a great feeling. Yeah, no, we've been listening to it loads in the office. It's funny because we obviously have loads of tunes come out each week, and every now and then I sit right next to Arthur, who I think did the artwork for this one.
Yeah.
Arthur
Big
Coppins,
shout out to him.
and so he's listening it, and eventually I don't know what point he started doing it, but we'd just be sitting around the office, and all of a sudden he goes, "Wanna be," and that's it. And then that just gets stuck in my head. So now every time I see Arthur now, I'm just like, "Wanna be."
Yeah, that whole sample, like that was like, I often think that sometimes the best things that can happen in a song when you're creating it is just by pure accident. So I had a sample from Splice, which is kind of an, if for people who don't know what it is, it's a paid sample service. There's hundreds of thousands of different like drum samples or vocal samples in all different keys and tempos and all that. But I had this one sample in, and like that was the wannabe was actually like way longer. It was just like I can't even remember, but it was a part of a full sentence. It was like wanna be loving you, or something along those lines. I just had a delay put on it, like a 2 times delay put on it, and I just hit the space bar, hit play, and it hit it again, and it just played the wannabe part, and it just echoed out the B, and I was like, that's just going to be the basis for the whole tune. Like, and it like I wasn't even mad about the original sample. I didn't like it that much, and then when I just heard that, I was like, yeah, this is it. Like, this is what the whole track's going to be like.
And is that sort of like what is your kind of like general, I know obviously it changes track to track, but like, do you have a kind of general way of approaching a track? Like, do you start with a sample, or do you, is there a way that you kind of generally find yourself working?
It depends, I suppose. It's either going to be one of two ways, depending on the track. It's either going to be starting with like a vocal sample, or starting with a melody and then building the rest of the track around that. Like I have, MIDI keyboards. I'm not able to play piano, but I'll 2-finger plink out a melody the whole time and then record that into FL Studio, and then just build a track around that and then add in the vocals later if there is going to be vocals. Or sometimes you get a really nice vocal sample, or you're doing a remix or something and you're like, okay, I have this and it's already in a certain key. Now obviously you could pitch it up or pitch it down, but for whatever the key is, you can just say, okay, this is the starting point, like the foundation, and I'm going to build a track around this then.
Yeah, I think it's super interesting. I think, vocals, they you'll know, as a producer, I guess, like a lot of like the track kind of hinges on the vocals, and it must be kind of, a lot of the time you're sort of at the whim of the vocals as the producer. You're sort of, you can only make the track as good as, and they fill up so much space in the audio spectrum. You can have the kind of kick and a bass, and then you put a vocal over it and you're like, oh, that's a song, whereas you can end up layering it with, hundreds of synths and it still just feels a little empty.
Yeah, you need to nail the vocal, like, for sure. Like, I think that there's a lot of things that you can do to make a vocal sound better, but even disregarding all of the processing and all of that stuff that you do, and like all of vocal engineering and stuff, just actually, if you're working with a singer, to get something that you're happy with and that you're happy to go forward with is massively important. And if you are just picking samples, you can pick a wrong sample for a song, and sometimes I can feel like you're actually just throwing in a vocal sample just for the sake of having a vocal in there, and it definitely comes out as feeling forced. So I think, like, I always feel that there's a moment when I'm producing that I feel like something just clicks, and I'll just be up in my room fist pumping on my own, like, making these tracks. Like, I think that happens a lot with vocals. If I have a track made and I find a sample and I put it in, and I just feel like all of a sudden in my mind I'm like, this is it now. Like, the whole track comes together. So yeah, the vocal selection, vocal engineering, vocal processing, all that's massively important.
Well, listen, let's give Wannabe a listen. I've just seen a couple of YouTube comments. Sarah Kennedy says Billie Eilish released Ocean Eyes first on SoundCloud, which I didn't actually know that's how the song came about. Lots of love for SoundCloud. James Dodd says SoundCloud promotes creativity, which could never happen on Spotify, which is, fair enough. I think I sort of think of SoundCloud like back in that heyday where you could just go on there and it was just this treasure trove of like some of the best music in the whole world. I think I've said this before, but I have a friend who he has one of those kind of red mega hats, but it says "Make SoundCloud Great Again." And it sort of feels like that's slightly starting to happen again. It feels like it's entering this kind of new era, which is what it was when I was like a teenager, and it is this kind of Wild West, like you said, but there is so much good stuff on there.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, and it's not a one-to-one correlation between the streaming services either. Like, I had a track that was in the top 10 UK house charts for ages.
Yeah.
And when I released it onto Spotify, then like it was really hard to get traction behind it, even though it had done 1 million streams on my SoundCloud. You can forget sometimes that they're almost like independent ecosystems, and there isn't always going to be crossover. Like a track like Odyssey, like Spotify can be far more directed, so you can kind of like say Odyssey, it's done big numbers in like the Netherlands and Germany and like techno-y kind of a place, where I think that SoundCloud is more of a free for all, really. Like it's just going to be, kind of Ireland and the UK is really going to is kind of my big market at the moment for any of my tracks, and it's kind of just to anyone and everyone along those regions. So I think they're separate, but I think both definitely have their merits, and like I said, have so much love for SoundCloud.
Totally. So before we play the track, do you want to intro it, or I'm happy to do that as well? But sometimes the artist likes to do a little intro in.
Geez, I don't even know what I'll say. This is I suppose it's a bit more of it's a bit more underground and a bit more niche than my last couple of releases between SoundCloud and Spotify. I really just wanted to make something that was dark and with a big hefty kind of built-in kick to it. So I played it a lot of times at my sets, and it's always gone off. So I was just really happy to get it out there, and I hope that people get some joy out of listening to it.
You
Yeah. That is huge, mate.
Yeah, cheers, man. Yeah, it sounds very crisp. I'm so used to listening to the extended version because that's been out on SoundCloud for a couple of weeks, and it originally started with the extended version. That every time I hear the change up between the radio, and I'm always taken a small bit by surprise. But yeah, I'm very happy with the final result. So
Yeah, it sounds wicked. Lots of love in the chat as well. Michael Hickey, Tune, Sarah Kennedy. Yeah, you all Middle England fire. Yeah, love to see it.
I got to give a big shout out to Michael Hickey and Sarah Kennedy, and they're two old music buddies of mine, and also to Colin Power and my brother Cahill. They're like my tune testers. I send all my tunes to them, and they're brutally honest. To be honest, it would they cut the legs right out from underneath you. Like, they don't care. You could be working on a song all day, and they'll just tell you that's a terrible tune. So it's nice to have some people who are there to keep you humble.
In an industry full of, a lot of yes men, that's invaluable advice.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, loads of people. Michael Hickey says he saw you play in Glasgow and you were sick. That actually brings me perfectly on to my next question, because I know you're a great DJ. I've actually only seen you DJ at the Helix party in Ibiza, which I know you played a little bit more of an Ibiza lounge set, not the typical.
Geez, don't remind me of that. That was where I got food poisoning straight away after.
Yeah.
Spent 2 days in the
I'm
hotel.
laughing.
Yeah, that was the set was good, but the after party
great.
for me was terrible.
So, do you play, like, do you have like a kind of favorite venue to play, a favorite country to play?
Yeah, like, really, I've done a lot of gigs now around Ireland in the last couple of months. I think in like the Button Factory in Dublin was a massive gig for me. It's like a double layered, so there's like a balcony up the top, and there's like a big dance floor out in the middle. And when I walked out on stage there, like, this was my first, like, one of my first proper big gigs, and I just saw all of like the lights and the phones and stuff, and I was just like, oh my god. And then it ended up being like, it was only like a 40-minute set because there was such a big lineup that night, but it ended up being one of like the best sets I ever done up to that point. And I got like one of my favorite videos ever, which was of me playing my Cry All Night edit, and just all like the camera lights going on, and like that just always, anytime I see that video, I always just think like it just fills me with a bit of joy. But yeah, I played Edinburgh there recently and for Tetra events, and I can't exactly remember the name of the place, but the gig itself was absolutely unreal. I was doing headlining with Christian Rogers and Kimmick, or Kimmick, sorry, and then we did a back-to-back then after that, or back-to-back-to-back. Yeah, we did a 3D just back-to-back, and it was unbelievable. So yeah, it's been going pretty well. I've been loving it.
Incredible. Sorry, it's calling me. I'm just going to tell him to leave me alone. So yeah, sick. I'm sort of conscious of time. I've actually got a couple of other releases that I'd love to play while you're on the call. But before we do that, maybe is there what's sort of next on the horizon for the All Cane project? You got any gigs coming up? Anything you'd like to share?
Yeah. So I've got a couple of gigs throughout the rest of summer. I'm in the talks for a couple more, but I'm hesitant to say any of them, because until the deal is actually done, these things can come and they can go. So I have Glasgow in the Grand. What's the name of the place? Sorry, let me actually just look this up just so I get it right. It's
Go
called
for it.
The Classic Grand.
Nice.
In Glasgow, and I'm really looking forward to that one. So that's probably the main one that I have at the moment, and I have a couple more that's in talks for the moment, and I'll be posting about all of them on my social media.
Sorry, I've literally we've got like the 6 o'clock switch over at the studios, and apparently there's no one at the reception, so I've suddenly got all these people messaging me about keys and stuff, which is obviously not exactly what you want midway through a YouTube live stream. Anyway, So I guess let's move on and chat about these other releases we have this week. This next track is from Sinkhole, who's Estonian multi-instrumentalist and producer who we have signed on Helix Records. And he's put out a track today called Lovely Day, featuring not featuring, but with using the amazing vocals of Dakota. It's kind of interesting because you sort of mentioned earlier on in the show about how when you were getting into music and you were kind of at that time, like the Avicii label Levels was huge. That was actually where Sin made his first name. He was signed to Avicii's label, and since then he's just done super well with over like 1 billion streams worldwide. And it couldn't really be more of a different vibe to Wannabe, this track. Actually, it's like a really like wholesome.
That's good. Yeah. I like listening to all sorts of stuff.
But that's the thing, you were saying earlier that you were experimenting with multi genres. What other things have you been sort of working on?
Oh, I was making like drum and bass. I was in like pop stuff. Kind of like a lo-fi hip hop. Just anything that I thought that I could try my hand at.
I'd love to hear some of your drum and bass, mate. I bet you it's fucking cool.
You probably wouldn't, man, to be honest with you. You probably I don't think many people would actually, they might listen to it once and then they'd say that's enough.
So I'm not gonna I'll play like 2 minutes of this. I'll probably just fade it out towards the end. But this is Lovely Day by Sinkhole.
When I wake up in the morning, and the sunlight hurts my eyes, and something without wanting love bears heavy on my mind. Then I look at you, and the world's alright with me. Oh, I just wanna look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day. When the day that lies ahead of me seems impossible to face, with someone else instead of me always seems to know the way. Then I look at you, and the world's alright with me. Oh, I just wanna look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day. When the day that lies ahead of me seems impossible.
Might write down. Yeah, it's just a really nice like summertime pop vibes, really happy. I've engineered the vocals for that, like not to like pull my own chain or anything.
Is this
drop that in
the part where you plug yourself? Is it?
Yeah, no, Dakota's great. She's actually it's super low, that song, for like a female vocal. It's actually like a really low range. So it was kind of
really nice sounding though. Really nice sounding. Yeah. I actually thought I didn't realize the direction that the track was going to go in at all. At the start, I was thinking that it was like, I almost thought it was going to be a little bit like just chill house, but like I suppose the actual drop of it was completely different to what I expected. But yeah, it was a really good song.
Yeah, super cool. And then actually moving swiftly on to our final track that we're going to play today. This is a little bit more, techier, a little bit techier, and so slightly closer to I guess to your release today, Wannabe. And this is actually our first release with Masic on Helix Records. He's a French music producer and DJ. They've been making music since 2012. They've done remixes for Maroon 5 and Inner. They had his first single called There in the Morning charted in the top 200 on Spotify France, and like the kind of top viral charts, and loads of radio support in France from Virgin and Fun and all that sort of stuff. I think that track now has like 10 million streams or something, so he's doing really, really well, and kind of building up his name, and we're super excited to have him be part of Helix Records. And he bounces between Miami and Paris now, which I think it seems to be a lot more producers. Have you gone out to America yet? Been out to America to work with anyone, or?
No, I've never been to America at all, but I'm going there on a road trip in August with my housemates Amir. I don't know how productive it's going to be. I'll scope it out for future work.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, we've got a bunch of studios in LA and New York, so who knows? Maybe we can sort some cool stuff out. I do think
sick,
that it's really interesting, the difference between like the UK scene and the American scene is in kind of like, especially, well, in all genres really, but like house especially, it seems like there's it's that gap is really dividing now. But yeah, should we give this a little blast and have a little listen?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Here it is, Masic Digital Delirium.
Take all the drugs you got. Drugs you got.
Yeah, that's super cool. Super cool. I love that sample.
Inspiration moments.
I'll take all the drugs you got.
I probably thought that myself, to be honest. Maybe that song after download.
Oh, I'm not sure if it's my headphones, but you sort of gone a bit all weird on the microphone or something, potentially. It might just be on my end. I'm not 100% sure.
No, hopefully not. It's better.
Oh no, there you are. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was just saying that. Yeah, I really like that one. I'd probably drop that in my sets.
Yeah, for sure. It's like a proper like techie roller.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. Were you saying that was that there was more of an American influence on that track?
Well, I know that I've actually just seen he's an English guy born in London, then he moved to France at quite a young age, and now I think he moves between he's like living between Miami and Paris, and you can definitely hear that kind of like Diplo Dylan Francis, Hugel kind of streak in there,
Yeah,
can't you?
I think that like a lot of the tech house tracks that get big in America are kind of ones that have like a very consistent bass line like that that there isn't often a lot of melody. I might just be talking rope here, but I don't know. But I found it like a craze do
Oh
it
yeah,
to
eight
it.
crate.
Trust
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
like very like subby bass without a lot of melody in the bass, and that like very consistent rhythmic. Like I think that I always find that that's a bit more of an American vibe to it. So I don't know, maybe that there is some influence there, but yeah, great track altogether.
No, definitely. Well, listen, mate, thank you so much for coming by today and hanging out and, telling us about Wannabe and spending time listening to all of our other music that we've got out today. It's super cool to just hang out.
Oh, sick. Listen, thanks a million for having me. I'm delighted to get the release out, and I've got a lot more unreal stuff in the works. So delighted to keep the relationship going, and yeah, just look forward to the future now. And think the next couple of months are going to be really, really good. So thanks a million for letting me say my piece as well.
Oh, no problem at all, mate. Yeah, I can't wait. I'm super excited. I'm a massive fan of your music, and yeah, I love to see what's coming next. Yeah, good luck with the move. Good luck with the move, mate.
Yes, well, yeah, we're gonna get a Chinese takeaway after this, and then go for a few pints, and then we'll worry about the move tomorrow. So
nice, yeah. A man of my own heart. Yeah. Put it off till the very last minute. That's
exactly. Yeah.
And then just really quickly before we finish for today, just a little bit of news. You're cutting it pretty fine, but the Linny remix competition, we're running a remix competition at the moment, Niall, for one of our artists called Linny, her tune Desert Dream, which came out last year. And we're doing a remix competition at the moment where people can submit a remix, and the deadline for that was today. I'm going to be really kind and extend it to Sunday. And then next Wednesday, we're going to have a special listening party with Linny and the community, and anybody who's made a remix can come and hang out and tell us about how they made their songs. And the person who wins, we've got a bunch of really cool prizes, including a writing session with Linny. So it's a really, really great opportunity for any budding producers or songwriters. Apart from that, we've actually also just announced we are going to be holding a panel on let me get my dates correct before I announce this. But essentially we'll be holding a panel at the Here and Now Antidote virtual festival, and that's on July 7th. And myself will be there, Harold Serrero, who some of you guys might know from previous Twitter Spaces, will be there. And we'll be chatting all about, Web3 and music and the Helix Records project. There's also going to be, music from Helix Records in the virtual space. And I highly recommend you go and check out the Antidote page right now. They've done a really, really cool promo video, which we've got on our Twitter. It just looks like a really, really fun concept and idea. It's the first year they've done it, and there's some really, really great projects involved. So we're super, super excited to get involved with that. And that just about wraps it up. So yeah, once again, thank you so much, Niall, for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you to everybody for watching. Oh wait, I've got to get this comment. It's blocked by the emoji on my thing. Oi, Kane man, Newcastle going to have to hear this one live. There you go. That must be either your track or Digital Delirium's track, but either way. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. Thanks to everybody for coming by, and yeah, let's keep in touch. I'll see you next week.
Yeah, chat soon. Take it easy.
Bye.
When I wake up in the morning, and the sunlight hurts my eyes, and something without wanting love bears heavy on my mind. impossible to fake.